you choose between PsyD programs after you've been accepted? Find out today on this episode of Navigating Academia. What's up, Navigating Academia family? This is your buddy and personal academic mentor, Dr. Phoenix Singh, coming at you to be able to discuss a very exciting situation. If you're watching this video, I want to say congratulations. You are officially at the end of your application cycle journey, and now, ironically, you're going to face one of the most difficult challenges yet, which is selecting between several different PsyD programs that you've already been accepted to. Now, to be honest with you, this can be like choosing between your children. It can be an actually pretty stressful process. So what I'm going to do right now is to be able to give you my 6 dimensions that I want you to consider when it comes to making this all-important decision. And I say all-important because it's going to influence, if nothing less, the next half-decade of your life. So let's get right into it. Number one consideration, for me, the most important, is the match rate of the different programs. Let's just say that you've gotten into 2 different programs. We'll just say, for the sake of this video, Program A and Program B. What I want you to do is to go onto Google and type in APA accredited search. And on there, you're going to have essentially a search website where you'll be able to take a look at both programs, and there will be a link for both to be able to take a look at admission data. When you click on that link, it's either going to take you to a dedicated landing page for that program's data in terms of their admissions data, and in that admissions data, it's going to show you information on the median and average length until, in terms of number of years until graduation, which is the 4th thing here, but it's also going to show you what percentage of individuals who have applied for so-called APEC approved practicum sites have actually gotten them. This is critical. If you don't actually complete an APA approved practicum, you will not get your licensure. So it's really, really critical that you pick a program where that so-called match rate, so the percentage of applicants who actually get matched, is the highest. If you take a look and the match rate of one is 90% and the other one is 70%, you should take that into consideration. Now, if you're watching this video, if you subscribe to this channel, trust me on this one, you're gonna get so many great tips and tricks to be able to make sure that you succeed in grad school and you get matched. But regardless, it's always good to be able to play it safe. So I would say match rate, number 1. Number 2, geography to local protective factors. What I mean by that is that grad school is insanely stressful. 44% of women, 38% of men end up coming out of this thing with some kind of anxiety disorder or a diagnosis of clinical major depression. And that's really unfortunate, but it is the practical reality. And so because of that, it's important to be able to take into consideration wherever those 2 different programs are, let's say in our example, which ones are closer to family, closer to friends. Maybe you're really into nature, you love hiking. Okay, great, that's important. Maybe it's something where you need a lot of activities going on around. Maybe you want to be in the city. Okay, fantastic. Think about how close you're going to be to protective factors that are already established. If you watch the channel, you know that for me, the number 1 thing that I want you to do during the summer semester before you actually begin the process and actually matriculate into your PsyD program is to focus on building up those protective factors so they can last you, again, that next half decade. Okay? 3rd dimension to take into consideration when you're making this decision is the number and nature of rotations. Clinical rotations are the bread and butter, in my opinion, of your PsyD education. How many different sites are there for you to be able to rotate between? For example, there's some programs where there's actually some kind of an on-campus or an affiliate hospital, and that's where you're going to go and do your rotations. For others, it's really more independent. In my opinion, even when you go into the PsyD program, if you already have it in mind that you know, hey, I only want to work in forensic settings. I want to work in a prison, I want to work in a jail, I want to work in a community corrections setting. Still, it's really important to be able to get as many experiences as you can during the PsyD, because God knows 7 to 10 years after you graduate and you've been working in prisons like I used to for a long time, you may decide that you actually want to switch your clinical focus. And if you want to do that, I think it's awesome. And now's the time to be able to dabble working with a variety of different demographics and a variety of different clinical phenomena. So that's number 3. Number 4, I mentioned a little bit earlier, because it's going to be in that exact same document as the match rate, history of graduation on time. Now, what constitutes being on time? Well, I want you to read the PsyD handbook, as it's called, for every program you get accepted into. If you can't find it online easily, or just by Googling the name of the program and then PsyD handbook in quotation marks, simply get in touch with somebody from the admissions office at those programs and ask them for it. They'll happily send it to you. Number 5 is funding availability. You know as well as I do that the average PsyD graduate has over $100,000 in student loan debt. That's some scary stuff, especially if you're going in your 20s, because that is the best decade of your life when it comes to investments compounding over time. And so because of that, I want you to get out with as little student debt as possible. Now, if it's not a fully funded program like a Rutgers or a Baylor or a JMU, for example, and if it's something where it's not a partially funded program, you need to take a look again at that PsyD handbook, and if it's not in there, just ask these questions. You're already admitted. They're not going to kick you out because you're asking questions now, all right? I want you to ask questions about their views on part-time employment. All right, if they don't provide funding themselves, and if they don't give you a chance to be something like a teaching assistant or a graduate assistant, it's something I want you to take into consideration. And last but not least, yes, I would say that it is important from a perceptual perspective, is the name recognition of the program itself. For example, if you end up going and doing the PsyD program at Pepperdine versus you do the PsyD program at Dine Pepper University, you know what I'm saying? Right, that name recognition is important to an extent, especially because most people doing PsyDs, they want to end up in private practice. And if that's the case, perception is reality. And if you had somebody, I mean, think about yourself. Who would you rather go and see, at least for an initial consultation? Probably Pepperdine instead of Dine Pepper, know what I'm saying? So that's an important thing to take into account. So for me, again, congratulations, this is a huge achievement. If you need one-on-one help to be able to make this decision, because it is really important, please don't hesitate to get in touch with me and we can do a one-on-one consultation session. And you can reach me at www.gradschoolapplicationcoach.com. And per usual, make sure you check out Publication Academy, which is the internet's largest provider of on-demand trainings when it comes to learn everything that you're going to need when it comes to academic publishing. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Thank you so much for stopping by, everyone. It's a pleasure to have you here as always. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more in this series on navigating academia, please click on one of these links over here to be able to view more original content. I hope to see you there.